Fresh from the Farmer's Market is brought to you by Taste Catering and Event Planning.
Radio V. Radio in TV.
Radio in TV.
Can you hear it? Today's episode is buzzing with sweet news because it's all about honey and its capable creator, the honeybee. Let's get busy.
There is a place out west where you can find the best of vegetables. It's down by the bay, a cornucopia of delectables. And everybody knows that the place to go to meet a farmer laureate. Is that a wonderful spot where all the chefs shop a lot? Ferry Plaza Farmers Market.
Meet Grace. She's a bee-dazzling Quesa volunteer. Turns out we have a mutual admiration for the magnificent honeybee.
I'm here with Grace, a Quesa volunteer, and it's the Honey Festival at the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market. Hi, Grace.
Hi.
Thanks for speaking with me.
Of course.
So we're here in front of this lovely poster board display that you created, right? Mm-hmm. And it's all about honey and bees. Let's start with bees first. I did a bunch of research last night about bees, so I'm a little bit fascinated. I think they're really, really obviously important creatures.
They are.
So let's start there. What makes bees special?
Okay. Well, bees are really important for our agriculture. They pollinate 80% of our crops in America, and without them, our plants just can't grow as well as they do now.
And so tell me about the queen bee. I'm very curious about the queen because I know there's a hive, there's a queen.
Yeah.
There are worker bees.
Yep.
And then there are drone bees.
Yep.
So the queen is who?
Well, the queen is a special bee who was fed royal jelly, and she becomes a lot bigger, and she even has a special scent so other bees can recognize who is the queen bee. And her job is to give birth, have babies all the time, nonstop. That's what she does. And she's the only one who does that, so she's really special.
So tell me a little bit about the workers.
Well, worker bees fly out of the hive and eat nectar. And so when they're in the flower, they're eating their nectar and they kind of get their little nose in there to get the nectar, but they get a lot of pollen on them. And bees are furry, so pollen sticks to them. And then they can fly to another flower, and that's how they do their pollination, is because they're accidentally getting covered in pollen and then putting their pollen on other plants.
So interesting. Okay.
So they've eaten this nectar, and as they fly back to the hive, it starts to be digested in their body, and it turns into, I guess, royal jelly and eventually honey. And so worker bees are called worker bees because they're working all the time, and they can only fly in their lifetime up to 500 miles. And so at around 500 miles, their wings just collapse, like break apart, and sometimes they're not even back to their hive yet. And so at around 500 miles, they just fall to the floor, dead.
Okay, so then there's also the drones, and the drones, it's my understanding, their sole purpose is to mate with a queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
The queen usually leaves her hive once in her lifetime, usually. And so she'll leave, and drones will swarm around her, mate with her, and their mating is usually so ferocious that it rips out their internal organs. So after mating, they also die. So their sole purpose in life is get the queen pregnant, die.
Oh, so, my.
But
drones.
It's the honor.
This is such a dramatic life.
I know.
The dramatic life of bees.
These are fascinating. They're really cool.
They really are.
Yeah.
And they produce honey.
Yeah.
So, and who doesn't like honey, right? I mean,
it's good for you.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's sweet. So tell me a bit about honey.
Well, if you have allergies, which a lot of people do, especially in springtime, eating local honey is really good for you because there's usually pollen in the honey, and so by digesting these small bits of pollen, you become more resistant to the pollen around you. So that's really good, but the trick is to get the pollen that's about from around like 15 miles radius
Around you, around where you
yeah,
live.
where you are.
That's really good to know.
Yeah,
Interesting.
And you can also eat just like pieces of pollen. You can buy that at the from the honey vendors right here at the market. So
Okay, well, excellent. Well, Grace, thank you. You did a
You're
really great
welcome.
job, and this is really interesting, and you're so knowledgeable.
oh, thank you.
Bees can dance? Oh, behave. But it's true. Bees do a dance called the waggle. Beekeeper and teacher Cheryl Hendrickson explains.
I'm here with Cheryl from Abundance Community Homestead.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Bees are fascinating.
They are. I'm also a teacher, and we decided to do a research project with my kids, and we just continued the unit for another 2 weeks because we found so much out about bees.
Really?
Yeah.
So how long was the unit supposed to be?
It was supposed to be 3 weeks long, and what I did is I brought in a huge honeycomb from our hive, and the kids started extracting pupas, which are baby bees, and they kept on asking questions that I couldn't answer, so we just continued and found out a lot about bees. We learned how to dance, do the waggle dance, and
Tell me about the waggle dance.
now there's a few theories on bee communication, but this is one of them. What happens is you have the sun, and in the beehive, what happens is a forager who collects the pollen will come in, and they do a little figure 8 dance. And in the middle of the figure 8, they wiggle towards the flower source. So if we have flowers over here,
Yeah.
you would do your figure 8, and then you'd wiggle, and then you'd come back around and you'd wiggle, and it would get everyone's attention.
It's a way of communicating with other bees. Hey, here's a food source.
Exactly. Now, if less than 100 yards, the bee will come in and just spin and spin and spin, and the bees just fly out in all directions.
And so that's called the waggle dance.
Waggle, yeah, W-A-G-G-L-E.
And so the waggle dance, I love that.
Yes.
That's
My
really
kids
great.
love it as well.
Yeah, I mean the bees dance to communicate.
Yes, exactly. Also communicate through scent. So
Oh,
you
interesting.
smell this beautiful scent, you know your queen, your one only queen is nearby, and it's kind of cool. You can see this in footage. The queen bee will be coming and all the bees face her.
Huh.
No matter where she goes.
Oh.
If you smell something bad, that means something's coming for you, and the guards get ready to fight.
So there's the one queen in the hive,
One.
only one,
She lives for 3 years.
3 years. But the other bees only live for about 6 weeks, right?
Well, this is my favorite part. So there's worker bees. They're about 3 months, 4 months. Now the drones,
Yeah.
they're the boys. They're the only boys. The only
Yep.
thing they do is mate with their queen. Come wintertime, they eat all the honey.
Ah,
They
typical
get too
men.
fat, so the women kill them all off.
Oh, really?
Yes. And the undertaker bees take them out, and you don't have to feed the fat drones through the winter. They've done their job.
They've done their job.
They've helped the queen reproduce.
And then they've eaten all the honey and then they've died.
Yep, 600 to 900 drones just killed off.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting, right? Well, so what else about bees and why do you love being a beekeeper?
I think, a lot of my kids that I teach come to my home and we garden together and we watch, a beehive swarm, and for them to look at it with interest as opposed to being afraid is amazing, and to see all the questions, and it's just as endless how much you can learn about bees.
So tell me about the swarm, a beehive swarm. What is that?
So there can only be one queen.
Okay.
And if you have more than one queen, they try to duel.
Okay.
And if
Oh.
they can't kill each other off, one queen will take half her hive.
Ah.
And in the Chronicle, there was a recent article, that's been happening a lot. Our bees have swarmed 4 times, which is difficult because they have to reestablish, the honeycomb, they build that all themselves.
Interesting.
So all of our beehives have started off fresh.
Okay. And so, can you tell me a bit about colony collapse disorder as well? Have you experienced that at all?
No, luckily, what happens is each time the bees have swarmed, we have a gentleman that comes in from Her Majesty's Bees, and he's a wonderful man, and he comes in, chops down the tree branch, and we can start the beehive again.
Okay.
So, but our first colony is starting to struggle.
Okay. Interesting.
So, yeah.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, the bees it seems to me there's so much to know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of mystery also surrounding why bees leave the hive and what's happening there.
Exactly. And like I said with the waggle dance, there's some scientists who will say, no, that's not how bees communicate. They communicate through scent only. So, Yeah, there's no
Huh.
sure answer with some of these.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure talking to you. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
So I see that you have a big bag here, and looks like there's something large inside. What do you have in your bag?
I have a big bag of eggplants. I'm actually
Wow.
shopping for work right now.
Will you pull one out?
Oh, yes.
Let's see.
Nice,
Yeah.
beautiful eggplants.
Beautiful. Look at this. That's a really good looking eggplant.
Oh, yeah, it is. I'm excited to use it.
Nice. So what are you going to do with it?
I'm not sure yet. I'm
'Cause you have a
shopping.
lot.
I'm shopping for work. I work at Murray Circle in South Toledo, and every week we have a 4-course market menu that we change weekly. So I just picked these up because they look nice, and I'll think of something to do with them.
They do look
Yeah,
really nice.
they do.
Well, that looks like a really good project.
Yes, it is.
I hope it turns out delicious.
Oh, I'm sure. I hope so.
Thank you. Honey lasts forever. You better believe it. Helene Marshall, Bay Area native and co-owner of Marshall's Farm Honey, fills us in. I'm here with Helene Marshall of Marshall's Farm. Hi, Helene.
Hello, Annie, and welcome to Marshall's Farm.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to speak with you.
Well, likewise, and it's a sweet day and sweet having you here.
It is a sweet day, a sweet honey-filled day.
Honey is a perfectly balanced food.
Interesting. I love the label, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me about honey and how it's perfectly balanced. What do you mean by that?
Well, the bees make it for themselves. It's not composed of different ingredients. It keeps them alive. Their diet is only composed of honey and pollen. It has nutrients, it has vitamins. It is so perfect, nothing can live or grow in it. You don't have to worry about the shelf life.
Yeah, honey doesn't go bad.
Right, it is a
Amazing.
natural preservative.
Wow. So you have upwards of a lot of different hives spread out over the Bay Area, right?
It'll range between 400, 600 hives seasonally. Now it's at its peak. We have about 80 locations.
80 locations across the bay. Wow.
Including the Fairmont Hotel on Nob Hill.
Yes, which is so cool because this is a big hotel in downtown San Francisco and there are hives and you're making honey on the roof, right?
Yes, we're going to harvest on Tuesday, and we anticipate the harvest to be maybe around 400 pounds.
400
Those
pounds.
hives are stuffed. The bees are very happy there.
Wow.
And they go up to the presidential suite for their water.
Lucky bees. So, what do you love about bees?
Everything positive about bees. The fact that they can sting you is a bit of a nuisance.
That's a negative.
I happen to be allergic myself, but I
Really?
know their behavior. I know how to respond to them.
You know their behavior?
Good one. Right.
So going back to the different flavors, I think this is really interesting.
No. Don't use the word flavor.
Oh, okay. What should I say?
Varietals.
Different varietals. Okay, thank you. So do you think that the fresh honey, does it age at all? Does it taste different with age?
It seems to mellow out.
Okay.
We find that it has a certain zing to it. You'll have to taste some.
Yes, I would love to. I would love
And
to.
I also want to point out our new label. This is designating that this is honey from the sweet shores of San Francisco Bay, and with the America's Cup coming to San Francisco Bay, and I happen to be passionate about sailing in boats, having grown up on the shores of San
course.
Francisco Bay.
Yes,
We did a label to commemorate the
Really?
big event in San Francisco and
really cool.
relate the fact that this honey is so local.
Yes.
We're not bringing it
No.
from way out there to here.
Such a great gift, this.
Yeah.
You know, you can take it home with you. It's going to last longer than you will.
Yeah.
So it can't go bad.
Unless you eat it first.
Unless you eat it first. So interesting and really great to talk with you. Do you have a favorite varietal of honey?
I get asked that question all the time, and my answer is it depends what I'm using it for.
Ah, okay. That's a great answer.
Yeah?
So what if you're using it in just to drizzle on ice cream?
On ice cream, I like something floral, like the orange blossom or the star thistle, I think might be my favorite pick for that. If I'm drizzling it on cheese, one of the hardy wildflowers like our Bay Area blend or Marin wildflower, one of the more robust ones. If I'm eating yogurt with blueberries, I love our dark Wild West wildflower.
Oh wow, that is dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Today, these chefs, the market chefs, did ice cream using 2 of our honeys, and they tasted totally different. So it's absolutely true that the variety you choose impacts how you your finished result, your finished product.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you so much. This was really interesting, and it's a pleasure to speak with you.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely, thank you.
And buzz on by the farm sometime.
I will. Don't mind if I do. Hi, Gianna.
Hi, Annie.
So you have a really lovely bag here.
Thank you.
I quite like the look with the flowers and the fresh lavender. What is in your bag that you want to tell us about?
Okay, so I actually make homemade salsa, and it's already canned. We can it about like a couple months ago, and I put cilantro.
Nice, fresh cilantro.
An onion.
Okay.
And then that's the salsa.
So what kind of salsa is it? Tomato or tomatillo or?
Tomato.
Okay.
Yeah.
Delicious. So you've already canned the tomatoes. You're just going to pop this in.
Yeah.
And you feel like the freshness helps with the cilantro? Yeah, I would imagine. You won't want to can that for too long.
No.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you, too.
Jake and Sean are co-owners of Humphry Slocombe. They give us the scoop on their unique, unbelievably delicious honey-fueled flavors. I'm here with Jake Godby and Sean Vahey of Humphry Slocombe. They are the owners. And chef?
Yes.
All right, and
operations manager.
Okay, wonderful. You guys have some really delicious ice cream.
We try for that.
Yeah, I know you do. Tell me a bit about incorporating honey into your ever so delicious ice cream.
Well, I think Jake came up with our original flavor, which was honey thyme. And
honey thyme.
It's one of our more delicate flavors, I think. What made you come up with that? I have a newfound love of honey. Coming from Ohio, we didn't have a lot to choose from. I always thought honey came in a squeezed bottle bear.
Right.
So I was never really fond of it until I moved out here and realized that there's more types of honey. It's like wine. There's a terroir to it, sort of. And that each variety tastes different, and it's delicious. And
different varietals of honey, which I learned earlier. I called it flavor. That was a flavors, and that was a big no-no. Big no-no. Flavors of ice cream, varietals of honey.
Yes.
So what honey are you using in? And tell me more about your honey flavors. So you've got honey thyme.
That's right. We have Harvey Milk and Honey Graham Cracker.
Awesome name.
That's a really good one. And we do different varietals of honey in the honey thyme, depending on. Yeah, we change it all the time.
And what honey are you using? Are you using local honey?
Currently, we're using Marshall's honey, which is local. Sonoma, I think.
Yes, yeah. Marshall's. Yeah, we just talked with them. They're in American Canyon, but they have hives all over the Bay Area, which is really interesting. So tell me more about the Harvey Milk and honey.
Equality California approached us 3 years ago for the original Harvey Milk Day to do a Harvey Milk themed ice cream, which we were honored to do, and we came up with Harvey Milk and Honey. And it's basically our honey, Strauss milk, and then we do a house-made graham cracker. So it's a crunchy graham cracker mixed in. So it's honey, the graham cracker, the really delicious thick ice cream. It's a great combination.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have some super inventive flavors, and I love the names, and it's all very catchy and delicious. So thanks for sharing. Really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Now let's meet up with Spencer Marshall on the rooftop garden of the famous Fairmont Hotel, where Marshall's Farm Honey harvests their golden goodness. I am thrilled to be here on the rooftop garden of the Fairmont Hotel, here with Spencer Marshall.
Hi.
Hi, Spencer. Great to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us up here. This is a really exciting day because you're harvesting honey.
Yeah, this is kind of the peak of the whole spring, early summer, and the longest day was just a few days ago, so we're on the downside, and this will probably be definitely the biggest harvest of the year. I've been doing bees over here for almost 20 years now, and all over the city they do fabulous. And
Really?
I have places where you would think they would do great, and they don't even compare.
Really?
I don't understand it. Somebody help me.
How many pounds of honey will you harvest from here?
I'm thinking at least 100 pounds of hive just for hives. And
Wow.
very likely more.
So at least 400 pounds of honey
At
up
least,
here.
that's right.
That's pretty incredible. But tell me a bit about how you got fascinated with bees, because obviously this is what you do now, but how did you get started?
Well, I think it's a calling. I think that if you're, first of all, like a nature person, that was basically where I was. I was out in the woods at a very young age. Creatures always fascinated me. And one day, after about 15 years of being a hobbyist and actually building up to kind of like a sideline where it was quite a few hives, I just asked myself one day, what's wrong with being a professional beekeeper? And I didn't have an answer, so...
Follow your dreams, right?
Exactly.
Do what makes you happy.
I was, doing this, but I wanted to do this, and I went, why? What's wrong with it?
Well, what I also think is so interesting is that without bees, we pretty much wouldn't have food to eat. I mean, right?
Well, there certainly wouldn't be enough to go around,
No.
and carrots would be $50 a pound.
Right. I mean, that's incredible to me.
Yeah.
That these bees, these tiny bees, make.
Well, I think a lot of things we just take for granted because they're doing their thing, and we're not really, knowledgeable of it. But if they were to disappear, we would quickly understand, that we're in trouble.
So let's talk a little bit about that. There's colony collapse disorder.
So these bees have everything that everybody has trouble with. And you'll see some of them crawling around in the ground. But we got to the point with my bees, I do breed for survival instincts, and I've been breeding my own queens now for a number of years from the best of the survivors. And it's got to a coexistence. It's kind of an old word. They have the stuff that everybody has, but they seem to be strong enough to survive and make some honey. Colony collapse definitely exists, and you'll see some of the bees crawling around when we go back in and look at the bees. You'll see some of them crawling around like they don't know where they are.
Oh, and that's
some of them are stunted. They didn't get enough nutrients. Some sort of parasite is in the cell with them when they're developing. But you'll see also the bees are strong and surviving. So it's like a coexistence point right now.
Wow.
Hopefully it'll keep going like that, and maybe the bees will take on some more behavior instincts, develop some instincts to fight off some of these other problems we're having.
The Fairmont's executive chef, J.W. Foster, is committed to offering local, organic, and sustainable cuisine. The honey harvested on the rooftop is used in soups, salads, and their seasonal honey saison beer. I'm here with J.W. Foster, who is the executive chef at the Fairmont Hotel in downtown San Francisco. Thank you for speaking with me.
Well, thank you for coming by and seeing the garden.
Absolutely. It is a really thriving, beautiful garden here on the rooftop. So tell me, we just were with the bees. I'm in my bee suit, you're in your chef suit.
Right.
Which I kind of like.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about the history of the bees here at the Fairmont.
Sure. Been here about 2.5 years. Okay. And when I first came here, I saw this beautiful area that had this garden. There was nothing here. Wow. And we had all this glass here, and I thought, what a cool place to put a herb garden, but also to bring the bees here. Obviously, there's a problem that we all are aware of, the collapse. And yes. I just think it's a huge a responsibility as far as the chef goes, and also as in the community as well. So I thought it'd be great to put them out here where they're protected, but the guests can walk by here or actually come outside and actually interact with them and see how important they are, see them in their own environment, and get an opportunity to understand them a little bit better right here in the city.
And so you have these beautiful beds of herbs, and are you cooking with all of this?
We do. Actually, we come out every day and we cut them back and we use them in sorbets, dressings, everything. You'll see cooks throughout the day coming out, mingling with the bees.
Really?
No one's ever been stung. So it just shows you there's a fear and a phobia, but there shouldn't be.
And they make all of this possible, right? The bees.
They do.
The bees, without the bees, none of this would grow.
Absolutely. And we keep everything goes to a flower, so it's all for them. It's not about for us, and it's all organic, so they can feed on it. And also everything we put out here actually turns back into composting, goes back in. So it's 100% coming back, recycling back. So.
Amazing. Good for you. And this is the only hotel in San Francisco that has bees. Is that right?
As far as I'm aware, we are the only one.
But there are other Fairmonts around the country that have bees.
Absolutely. And it's just a great opportunity to show our guests our commitment to the environment. for Fairmont, and I think it's a great way for people to interact and understand how important they are to us for future generations, and we need to be proactive and actually showcase them. So
be kind to the bees.
Be kind to the bees.
Be kind. So one more question. What about honey on your menu? Do you feature the honey?
We do. We smoke with it, we cure with it, we use every aspect of the honey. We take, I challenge my pastry chef to turn around and instead of using plain white sugars or raw sugars, use the honey. So we've actually changed a lot of the recipes that are currently used and are really incorporating it. We also have a beer.
I'm Jesse Friedman from Almanac Beer Company. We're a San Francisco-based microbrewery. We brew beers in collaborations with local farms. So Marshall Farms runs they run the beehives here on top of the Fairmont Hotel. So the Fairmont Hotel approached us and asked if we'd be able to create a beer that really highlights the honey. And so there's nothing more local than a beer being served in the place where that one of the major ingredients, was grown right on top. Been completely overwhelmed by the reception to this beer. It has been almost overnight became their best-selling beer. And it makes sense, being a part of the San Francisco food culture, it's all about, how local can you make your food? How unique and tied to a sense of place can you make your food? So you're in a historic hotel, this is an amazing pre-earthquake hotel, and we're thrilled to be a part of the culture of the space, that you can come in and get a beer brewed for using ingredients here, that we're so stoked to be a part of that.
I call it zip code honey. So you come to this Fairmont and you're going to try it. This is going to taste like just our neighborhood here.
Yep.
You go to another one, it's going to have a different flavor to it. So it's always interesting to taste it because you'll get different profiles that you can actually use in cooking. Every time we harvest, it's never the same. So it's always different. So,
wow, fascinating.
We survived.
We survived, thank goodness. So can we taste?
This is a nectar of the gods.
Nectar of the gods. I like that. Just dip it in. Oh my gosh, look at that.
San Francisco creation. Spicy, yeah. Got a little spice to it.
It's got a little kick. Sweet. And so what are the bees mostly pollinating here?
That's the interesting thing about San Francisco. There's so many different plants from all over the world. We get no other honey like it in all the other locations. San Francisco is always unique.
Those
always
city
different.
bees, those urban bees.
Yeah.
Wow, this is incredible. And I like that the honeycomb is kind of chewy.
Yeah. Well, there's certainly a lot of blue gum eucalyptus, but that was months ago, so they've added a lot of things since.
Just gonna have a little more. Thank you.
Okay.
This is so delicious and really, really fascinating.
Yeah. Well, come to the farm. It'll be all in the bottle by tomorrow afternoon.
That's incredible. I would love to. Thank you for the invite.
All right.
Where would we be without the bewitching honeybee? 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat is made possible because of this popular pollinator. Annually, honeybees help in the production of about $15 billion worth of U.S. crops. I'm Annie Happel, and we are Fresh from the Farmer's Market.
Fresh from the Farmer's Market is brought to you by Taste Catering and Event Planning.
Radio V. Radio in TV.
Radio in TV.